Response video to a few videos, a couple by Matt, one by Pyro and Pennilesscripple. I'll post some links over there. It's kind of depressing. I mean, Matt's basically just inventing his own religion. He's conceded the existence of this all-knowing, all-powerful God might not be the right description. But he's presuming the intelligence thing, something intelligent designed the universe. Or there's something innately intelligent in the design of the new universe. Even though it's just crude forces, somehow those crude forces were built wisely, anticipating the consequences, the potentialities of what could happen through this evolutionary process, and creating some sort of safety net against preposterous and ludicrous. But that's all, it's just a perceptual definition. We all know that. We all can look at a painting and we can all say, it's a piece of shit, and one person can say it's brilliant. And we know that the definition is bullshit. And that's basically all we're doing. Philosophy is now just completely turning into bullshit. You just write into it, it's just create a new religion. Let's just be all L. Ron Hubbard, and we'll just invent an interesting scenario and call it the truth. And this is the definition of our creation. So his idea is this: we're just snakes eating our tail. Yes, that's true, but we're giving birth to the tail, and so it's all okay. No, what we're doing is caught up in a cycle of want, and we're just redundantly living out the cycle over and over and over again. Matt also still has this obsession with death, as if that's the only thing on your mind, that running from death is all you're about. There's nothing else that you're about. And he doesn't really even go into death as being the dying process. It's just, personally, that's the only part of death that bothers me. That's hardly sensical first to assume that everybody's obsessed with that all day, every day. What we're obsessed with is what we're designed to be obsessed with. The wants and the needs and the desires are a natural consequence. They are provoked every fucking day in us naturally, the want. And let's deal with that word. We have a lust for life, or what will end up making you live. That's the way we're designed. We're designed to lust the things that will continue or perpetuate our existence. And it is something we all do personally. So getting to penniless cripples, back to nature bullshit. Individuals feel the want, all right? And the only reason why tribal cultures didn't blow the world up 10,000 years ago is because they didn't have the power to do it. The only reason why they didn't, annihilate each other is because they didn't have the power to do it. There was a balance of power between them. But they did plenty of fighting. They did plenty of hurting and harming of each other over territory, over satisfying their want, okay, and what they were connected to, the want of the thing they were connected to. And you don't elevate, human consciousness by just extending its tribalness, or its addiction, its identity. We could all call ourselves an individual, or we could say, no, I'm my family, because I care as much about my siblings and my parents as I do for myself. Okay, so then you have this nucleus of mutual interest. And so yes, you can extend that then to some sort of extended family, and then you can build it into this tribal idea, but it's still basically just a family. And so you've just made the organism bigger. And so yes, you've consolidated some of the personal want into collective want, but it's still a greedy organism. It's still a self-interested organism. And it's just, it's just stupid to say that the problem isn't in the very construction and the nature of the animal. And the only thing that gets cultures above that is because they realize there is a better interest in taking care of each other. They acquire an understanding of empathy through understanding, through intelligence. And that's been my point, is that the only way we overcome our nature is to concede it exists, that we do have a want and desirous and lustful nature, and that we have to discipline it with principles, and understanding that I can't take at somebody else's expense. And that principle, that's the foundation of some religions, at least in words, not in deeds, is a valuable thing, and that's our salvation. Whether we have a huge, giant, billions of people culture, or we have a 100-person culture, it's the same ethic that's got to be understood. And without that ethic, you're not going to, there's just as there's all kinds of different individuals, from Donald Trump to whoever, there's all kinds of different tribes, there's all kinds of cultures manifest themselves, and all they are is ideas, all they are is memes. And so, that's all Matt's talking about. I mean, he's just talking about a meme, an idea, a conception. And he thinks this conception is, number one, he'll claim it's the truth, and number two, he'll claim that it's somehow good for human beings to view the world this way, with a futile attitude that, yes, we must just concede to being pointless snakes chasing our tails, that we can't break that cycle, or that we wouldn't even want to break that cycle. And I think, of course, we would want to. If we saw a dog chasing its tail forever, we'd say, well, that's enough of that already. You've really done that 6,000 million times. Enough of this already. Especially when there is grist, when there is torn up bits of flesh on the ground from the experience. I mean, life is not fucking free. I'm so sick of you people talking as if this is, we're making some decision where there's a safety net under it all, and that there can't be a complete disaster. Of course it can be. There's real suffering and misery, pain. There's shit that can happen. That's the price for this thing. And we're paying the price right this minute. Conscious organisms are paying the price for the existence of life on Earth, and they have no appreciation for that price, not even concede it exists at all. There's no arguing with that kind of insanity. Whether or not the magnificent thing called satisfaction, your wonderful moments in life are worth all the pain that's paid for it. Okay, I'll concede. I can't argue definitively and absolutely that no, that's not possible. But don't tell me the other side that don't argue back at me either that for certain this thing is worth doing. That your bullshit, perpetual feeding frenzy makes any sense, because you haven't demonstrated with a single bit of logic. And so to Pyro, who just, again, it's just another bastardization of the reality, because here he's implying that we're somehow evolving. And we're physically not evolving in any rational way. As soon as we invented birth control, we took natural selection out of the ball game. All right, and it became completely bizarre selection. And so populations didn't have to be the winner they didn't have to be the fittest to do the most populating. All they had to do was have enough resources to feed their population growth, enough power, to prevent their babies from dying. But the populations, you see it now in this world now, the populations that are growing are not the productive populations. So it's silly. The best of us isn't evolving. I'm not going to call them the worst of us. I'm just saying that they're not representative of the functional, necessarily, part of our culture or society that is doing the most reproducing. And beyond that, the memes, the ideas, the philosophies that are winning, that are winning this contest by these idiotic and nonsensical rules. The same rules are basically in place that were in place a few hundred years ago, where they hold up the Bible and say, do you believe in this book? And if you don't, you die. The memes of the cultures are dominated by shit. There's just no doubt that the evolution isn't. We're not evolving into something better culturally. We're evolving into something worse. I mean, and the current politics just kind of demonstrates that. The people are becoming more eccentric and perverse and strange in what they'll cling to. We have all these truthers who keep seeing conspiracies everywhere, and it's somebody else who's fucking them up. It's not their own damn fault. No one's taking responsibility for our own fucked up system. It's not the people's fault our culture's fucked up. Somehow the culture is imposing on you. You can't think past your culture. I mean, come on, that's just plain bullshit. No, the fact is that human beings are driving the culture. And the fact is that too many human beings have taken this this easy philosophical road of, yeah, I'll just believe the bullshit because it's a nice fairy story, and I like nice little pretty fairy stories, and I don't want to have to take responsibility for my life, and I want to have the things I want to have, and I don't want somebody telling me I can't have them because it costs somebody else too much in hardship and pain. People want to satisfy their desire, their lust. And that's what's driving all of this. And the lust is never ending. It never stops. There's never there's this thing, satisfaction just doesn't happen. It happens for a moment, and then the next bit of lust is generated. And so let's accept the dilemma that we're caught in and find realistic solutions. But anarchy is not an answer to corrupt government. The base nature is not elegant and beautiful. It is hungry, period.